Welcome back to the Enchanted Library. I'm so glad you've stopped in today. Here's what's waiting for you this week. A few fascinating moments from history, a fun day you might want to celebrate, a poem pulled from our shelves, and a simple idea to take with you into the world around you. Let's begin. Let's check out this week in history. On April 23rd, William Shakespeare is traditionally remembered both as being born and having died on the same day. No one knows his exact birth date, but April 23rd has come to represent his life and his work. He wrote plays and poems that are still read and performed today. Stories filled with kings and queens, mistaken identities, friendships, rivalries, and difficult choices. What's really interesting is that even though his words were written hundreds of years ago, the people in his stories still feel familiar. They make mistakes. They misunderstand each other. They hope things will turn out one way, and sometimes they don't. And yet, through all of it, we recognize something of ourselves in them. It's one of the reasons his stories continue to be shared, because they remind us that people, in many ways, really don't change as much as we might expect. Also this week, on April 22nd, the very first Earth Day was held in 1970. Now, at the time, many people were beginning to notice changes in the environment, pollution in the air and water, and the effects of how people were using the world around them. Earth Day began as a way to pause, to pay attention, and to ask one simple question. How can we take better care of the place we live? You know, what started as a single day has now become something that has been observed all over the world. And while the ideas behind it can feel very large, they often begin with very small actions. And on April 21st, according to legend, the city of Rome was founded. Now it tells the story of two brothers, Romulus and Remus, and the beginnings of what would eventually become a powerful city. Now, whether every part of that story is true or not, it reminds us of something simple. Even the largest cities, the most important places, they always begin with something very small. A single place, a single idea, a beginning that doesn't yet look like what it will become. Now, this week also brings something worth noticing. Like we said, April 22nd is Earth Day. It's time to slow down just a little and pay attention to the world around us. Now, you might plant something small. Maybe it's a seed in a cup of soil on your windowsill. Maybe it's a tree or a plant in your backyard. Or you might take a short walk and notice things you usually pass by without thinking. You could bring a bag and pick up a few pieces of litter, or choose to use a little less of something you don't really need. Or you might simply spend time outside, noticing the colors, sounds, and small details that are easy to overlook when we're busy. Sometimes caring for something begins simply with noticing it. Now, let's pull something off the shelf. Today's poem is The World is Too Much With Us by William Wordsworth. Now, it's a poem that gently reminds us that we can become so busy, so focused on what we are doing, that we forget to notice what is already around us. The world is too much with us, late and soon. Getting and spending, we lay waste our powers. Little we see in nature that is ours. We have given our hearts away, a sordid boon. This sea that bears her bosom to the moon, the winds that will be howling at all hours, and are upgathered now like sleeping flowers. For this, for everything, we are out of tune. It moves us not. Great God, I'd rather be a pagan suckled in a creed outworn. So might I, standing on this pleasant lea, have glimpses that would make me less forlorn, have sight of Proteus rising from the sea, or hear old Triton blow his wreathed horn. Now, before we go, here's something you might try this week with your family. At some time during your day, take a few minutes to step outside, or sit near a window if that's easier. Choose one small area to focus on. It might be a patch of grass, a tree branch, a sidewalk, or even the sky. And instead of looking quickly, stay with it for a moment. What do you notice first? Then what do you notice after a few more seconds? Are there small movements, small changes, maybe something living there, something that wasn't obvious at first? Now, if you can, come back to that same place later in the week. Does it look the same? Or has something changed? Sometimes, the more time we give our attention to something, it has more to show us. Well, those are the fun things for our week. If you try these activities or celebrate with your family, we'd love to hear what you do. Thank you for joining us today. If you enjoyed today's episode, please leave a review on your favorite podcast platform and share our podcast with a friend. Stay connected by following us on Facebook at facebook.com/Enchanted Library. If you'd like to support the work we do, you can visit our Patreon page at www.patreon.com/Enchanted Library. We appreciate your support. Until next time, friends, happy reading.